Today, Saturday the 14th of September 2024, we have some handpicked match predictions to share with you, which will be backed up by some stats and analytics to help you make your picks in this list to boost your winning by a greater percent. And to those of you who want to have access to all our handpicked match prediction events based on our top 10 list of over 1.5 or 2.5 goal match picks event, which we have just shared to members only, as well as our top corner kick event for members only and other match prediction events to take your winning to the next level, then of course you want to make sure to join to become a member of the level 2 pro plan and start to have access to all of these features to take your winning to the next level. The link is below this video description. You want to make sure to go directly to the link and click to join to become a member and start to access all of these features to take your winning to the next height. So without wasting time, I'm going to begin with the first event of our today's list. Looking at the first match pick here, we're looking at England in the Premier League, a match between Manchester City against Brentford. For this event, first, I want to share with you the recent performance of Man City based on matches they have had. You can see that the score between 1 to 3 and 4 goals per every event. They are very, very offensive, and the performance based on recent events has been so great. That of Brentford, on the other hand, is not as good as that of Man City. And Brentford have mostly had events, as you can see here, the EFL Cup, as well as in the Premier League as well. But of course, if you look at that of Man City, they have mostly had games in the Community Shield, Premier League itself, and also in the club friendly. First, I want to share with you the performance of Man City based on games they have had at home, their record based on most recent event they have had. The striking power is very high based on this 3 rating. The opponent, on the other hand, based on the way, is not as good. They are just average. And now, looking at the performance based on these two teams on the stands, based on form, I'll share with you this form table. This is just the 4th round of this tournament. And looking at the form, you can see that Man City sits on the first position. They are the best on this table. Having played 3 games, they have had all the 3 wins, 9 goals scored, and 2 conceded. That of its opponent Brentford, on the other hand, based on matches they have had 2 wins, 5 goals scored, and 4 conceded. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks here in full time. Looking at this particular event, this tournament is the 4th round, and these 2 teams, of course, especially Man City, have shown to be a very great team in terms of performance of recent events they have had. Its performance based on home play have proved that they are very offensive, but that of its opponent, on the other hand, its defense is not very strong. This is going to make Man City to take that advantage of not that strong defense of its opponent. And Man City, based on the last head-to-head, this same year in the month of February, played at home and lead by 1-0. This time, the performance of Man City has been great. And of course, looking at its lineup as well as the matches they have played recently, we want to look at Man City to take this advantage, being the fact that they have a very high offense and score between 2 to 3 and even 4 goals per each event to lead this match in full time, as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 goal in full time or 2.5 goals. So we want to look at 3 major picks here. First, Man City to lead. Second, the possibility of at least 1.5 goal in full time. And third, the possibility of at least 2.5 goals in full time. Looking at next, we are looking at Austria in the Bundesliga, a match between Salzburg against Klagenfurt. For this event, the performance of Salzburg have proved that they are good based on recent game they have had. That of its opponent, on the other hand, is not as good as compared to that of Salzburg. But of course, there is this comparison. I wanted to look at it. Salzburg has mostly had events in the Champions League, as you can see here, and they have had games with very strong teams, like, for example, Dynamo Kiev, but that of its opponent, on the other hand, have just had events in the club friendly and as well as mostly in the Cup and the Bundesliga itself. The performance of Salzburg at home, they are very good based on recent events they have had. You can see the rating here. Based on this rating, they are very good, especially when they come at home, making it to look at that fact to take home advantage. Its opponent, on the other hand, is not as offensive as that of Salzburg. And looking now at the stand table, which I want to share with you, this tournament is the 6th round, and looking at the performance of these 2 teams based on form, Salzburg sits on the better position. Being the fourth position of the table, they have had 4 games, having 3 wins, 11 goals scored, and 6 goals conceded. Its opponent, on the other hand, having played, that is, sits on the 8th position, having played 5 games, they have had 2 wins, 6 goals scored, and 8 goals conceded. Salzburg is more offensive as compared to Klagenfurt. And looking at this, the defense of Salzburg is not that very strong. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks here in full time. Looking at this particular gameplay, we want to look at the fact that based on the performance of Salzburg, they have proved to be good, especially when they come at home. They try to score more goals, especially at home, because they are very offensive. Its opponent, on the other hand, also try to perform, but its offensive power is not as great as that of Salzburg. And now, of course, looking at the past head-to-head events which these two teams met in the month of April, this same year, Salzburg played at away and its opponent at home. It resulted to 4-3, a total of 7 goals between these two. The shoot on target was very high and resulted to more goals, a total of 7. This time, Salzburg, which is now the home team, is coming home, and looking at its offensive power based on more shoot on target, its opponent as well, on the other hand, will also want to impress. As a result, we still want to look at least the possibility of 1.5 goal in full time or 2 goals over. Looking at the next, we are looking at Turkey in the Super League, a match between Galatasaray against Rizenspor. For this event, the performance of Galatasaray have proved that they are good, especially when they played in the Super League itself. But they have also had games in the Champions League, as you can see here, and their performance were average, having played against young boys and showed good performance in terms of goal scoring for this particular gameplay event. That of its opponent, on the other hand, based on the games they have mostly had recent games in the Super League itself. Looking at the performance of Galatasaray at home, you can see that they are average, and that of its opponent, on the other hand, also showed that they can score goals, and they have had games in the club friendly, as you can see here, and their performance were very good. Now, looking at the stands based on this tournament, it is the 5th round, and looking at the performance based on form of recent games they have had, you're going to see that Gala sits on the 2nd position. Having played 3 games, they have had 3 wins, 9 goals have been scored, and 3 conceded. Its opponent, on the other hand, have also played 4, just 1 win, 3 goals scored, and 8 conceded. They show to be more conceding. And now, looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks here in full time. For these events, Galatasaray have proved to have a better form in terms of offense. And looking at its offensive rate, it has an average goal score rate of above 2. That of its opponent, on the other hand, tend to concede more. And now, looking at the last head-to-head, these two teams met in the month of March. Galatasaray play at home and its opponent at away in the Super League itself. And it ended by 6-2, a total of 8 goals between the two. The shoot on target for Gala was very high, and this time its performance is still very great. It is still coming home, and we want to look at Gala to lead in full time, as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 goal in full time or 2 goals over. Looking at the next here, we want to look at Czech Republic, that is Czech Republic League, a match between Sparta Prague against Karviná. For this event, the performance of Sparta Prague have proved to be very good, especially based on recent events they have had. They have had games in the Champions League, in the First Liga, and also in the Champions League as well, against Malmo, and registered good success. Its opponent, on the other hand, has only had events mostly or recently in the First Liga itself. This time, of course, looking at the performance of Sparta Prague at home, they have proved to be good, comparing to that of its opponent, on the other hand, who also showed consecutive win based on recent events they have had. Now, this tournament is the 8th round, and looking at the stands, I want to share with you the form based on these two. Sparta Prague, of course, sits on the better place in the 2nd position, having played 5 games based on form. They have had 4 wins and 10 goals scored, 4 conceded. Its opponent, on the other hand, as you can see here, have had 5 events, 1 win, 4 goals scored, and 8 conceded. They concede more, and the scoring power is not good. But that of Sparta Prague proved to have an average goal score rate of at least 2. And everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks here in full time. For this particular event, Sparta Prague offensive power is better as compared to that of its opponent. And the opponent tend to concede more, in terms of goal conceding. And looking at the last head-to-head event which these two teams met, Sparta Prague play at away. This same year, it lead by 3-0, and Sparta Prague was at away. This time, it is coming home and having a great offense. We want to look at it to lead in full time or just the probability of at least 1.5 goal or 2 goals in this match in full time. And to those of you who want to have access to even more games, which we have shared to members only, then of course, you want to make sure that you join the Level 2 Pro membership package plan to start to have access to all our match pick predictions, which we share to members only to take your winning to the next level. The link is below this video. You can click directly on it, subscribe to the Level 2 Pro package plan to start having access to all our hand-picked games and take your winning to the next level. Good luck and see you again in the next upload, and bye bye for now.